There's an island in the world where people simply forget to die. No, really, people go there in their 60s and just keep living. They don't get sick. They don't grow frail. They garden, they walk, they laugh, and they live past 90, sometimes past 100 in perfect health. And doctors can't quite explain it. It's not a science fiction movie or a wellness scam. It's a real place. It's called Ikaria, a small Greek island in the Aegean Sea. And it's doing something that the rest of the world can't. People here don't just live longer, they live better. Let's rewind. Back in the 1940s, a man named Stamatis Moraitis, a Greek war veteran, was living in the U.S. when he was diagnosed with terminal lung cancer. Doctors gave him 9 months to live. Instead of dying in a hospital, Stamatis decided to return to his homeland, Ikaria, so he could be buried with his ancestors. But then, something weird happened. He didn't die. He moved in with his parents, started drinking local wine, eating Mediterranean food, and napping in the afternoons. Months passed, then years. He planted a garden, he harvested olives, he built a vineyard, and by year 6, he realized he felt better than ever. He outlived his American doctors. In fact, Stamatis went on to live another 45 years, dying at the age of 98. Some say even older. How? That's what researchers started asking. So what's going on with this mysterious island? Ikaria is one of only 5 places in the world known as a blue zone, regions where people live much longer than average and have astonishingly low rates of disease. In Ikaria, people have 20% lower cancer rates, half the rate of heart disease, and almost no Alzheimer's. 1 in 3 people lives past 90. But here, it's the twist. It asks not because they re-hitting the gym or taking supplements. Their secret? It's hidden in their lifestyle, and it's beautifully boring. First, their diet. Ikarians eat what's basically a peasant's meal. Lots of beans, greens, herbs, potatoes, olive oil, and a little goat cheese. Meat is rare. Sugar is almost non-existent. They drink wine, moderately, and herbal teas made from wild plants like sage and rosemary, which have natural anti-inflammatory properties. There's no magic superfood here, just real food. But it goes deeper. Second, they move naturally, but not in the way you think. There are no gyms in Ikaria. Instead, movement is built into daily life. Gardening, walking up hills, chopping wood, making bread by hand. It's not exercise, it's just living, and that's the trick. They don't go on a run and sit all day like we do. They're constantly in motion, slow, steady, meaningful. Then there's sleep. Ikarians don't set alarm clocks. They sleep in, nap during the day, and follow their body's natural rhythms. Stress? Barely a concept. They live without deadlines or pressure. Time moves differently on the island, slower, softer. Even researchers have said, there's no clock here, the people live by the sun. But maybe the biggest factor of all is community. On Ikaria, everyone knows everyone. Old people live with their families, not in isolation. They dance at festivals. They visit neighbors daily. They play games, tell stories, laugh loudly. Loneliness, one of the biggest killers in the modern world, doesn't exist here. Even people with diseases like dementia show fewer symptoms because they're surrounded by love, purpose, and inclusion. In Ikaria, growing old isn't feared, it's celebrated. And here's the eerie part. People don't retire. Not because they're forced to keep working, but because they simply don't feel old. There's no fixed point when life slows down. At 90, they're still climbing hills, cooking meals, raising goats, and when asked how old they are, many genuinely don't know or care. Because age isn't a countdown. It's just another season. So why do we call it the island where people forget to die? Because death just doesn't show up the way it does elsewhere. People don't grow old in hospitals. They don't count pills or count days. They grow older in their homes, with their gardens and neighbors. And when they do finally pass, it's often in their sleep. Peaceful, quiet, expected. No drama, no fear. Just the final breath in a long, well-lived life. Now, let this sink in. We spend billions every year trying to live longer. New diets, fancy gadgets, biohacking, supplements. But Ikaria is proof that the secret isn't in technology. It's in how we live. Slow down. Eat simply. Move often. Stay connected. Sleep well. Laugh loud. It's not glamorous, but maybe that's the point. In a world obsessed with youth and speed, maybe the real rebellion is growing old gently. So, next time someone tells you aging is scary, or that the secret to life is some overpriced superfood, remember Ikaria. Remember that sometimes the answer is hidden in a quiet village, where no one wears a watch, and the sunsets last longer than the headlines. Because maybe the real secret to a long life is forgetting to rush toward the end. If this story made you rethink aging or crave a simpler life, hit that subscribe button for more surprising truths from around the world. And drop a comment. Would you live like the Ikarians if it meant adding 30 healthy years to your life? Let's talk.